Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the coolest Pokemon to currently run in the Open Master League. It's going to be the Shadow Tyranitar with not the legacy move Stone Edge anymore. I got rid of it, I had it before on it because of all of the ho-ohs, which still a lot of ho-ohs are around. But the current meta is flooded with Necrozma. And honestly, Bite on this Pokemon here, Bite on the Tyranitar is quite a funny move to have for the current meta. The amount of times that you're going to see it here today as well, where I'm going to be able to completely farm down the Necrozmas, some Mewtwo, stuff like this, is going to be absolutely wild. So stay tuned for a lot of fun in today's video. Hopefully you enjoy this one. If you do, feel free to leave a like as well, would really appreciate it. Anyway, we're going to see here the matchup first from the Shadow Mewtwo, which I would love to have later on against my Tyranitar, against our Landorus. We can go for a Stone Edge against the opponent's Gardevoir coming in. I have to say, with this team, I went crazy positive. Like, honestly, I went only positive, I think, with this team. It was kind of madness on how strong this team was. I did, like, I think 17 battles with this team total. And oh, look at this, we're going to have a Necrozma here. Make a little bit of a mistake because I did not go for the close combat first. Show went for that first because now the opponent can go for the Sunseer Strike. Of course, this variant can knock me out. But it's still going to be fine. We can still go for another move here. It's going to be the close combat, knocking them out. And yeah, the Mewtwo should go down to one Moonblast. Did a little bit more tricky than I should have had been, but it's going to be fine. We're still going to be able to win this battle here, and we can move on to the next opponent. Okay, we're going to have a Palkia in the lead, a normal Palkia. I don't know where the normal Palkia is all of a sudden coming from, by the way. I have no idea. Like, I'm around, like, I think 2600 ELO range again right now at this point, climbing up a little bit, but yeah, I don't know where they're coming from. Anyway, we're going to have the Tyranitar here against the opponent's Necrozma. We can use one shield, fully farm them down, or go for a charge move. Yeah, I think this was not necessary. I think we would have been able to farm them down. But they decided to use a shield anyway, and we can still farm them down. So at the end of the day, they didn't win anything with it. They didn't lose anything with it. I mean, they did lose a little bit with it. But here we're going to have the matchup now with Palkia against us. We are going to be in a great spot now because we can still align our hard counter to it, the Xerneas. I don't know if I went for a charge move here or not, but the opponent's going to go for the Awkward Tail. We did go for the Moonblast, we're going to be able to knock them out, and that is going to be fine because no matter what is in the back, we should be in a great spot. It's going to be the Landorus. We can go for another Moonblast. With this, we can now also get either the shield or a ton of damage against them. We're gonna get the shield, and now it's basically Landorus against Landorus, but we have a shield advantage, and that is going to be game over. The opponent knows this as well, and we can move on to the next one. Xerneas Mirror Lead here, which is going to be quite an awkward one. We are both having hundos of the Xerneas, which is going to be fine. We're going to be able to go for the Moonblast. It's a 50-50 chance who's going to be able to win this one. Or, I guess you have some 10% chances there as well, because Moonblast has the option to debuff. Here, I decided to play it a little bit risky, going for the close combat here against the opponent. This is going to not knock them out straight away, but we can go ahead and go into our Landorus, take a hit. Let's see if it's going to be their Moonblast actually, which is going to be a little bit awkward, and they're gonna get the attack drop. So we're in a very tough spot now. We're going to have our Landorus debuffed, we have a shield disadvantage, we have switch disadvantage as well at this point, and yeah, that is not really looking too great for us. But they swap out here into the Ho-Oh, allowing us to see what they have now in the back in general, which is going to be great because now I can go into my Tyranitar. They're debuffed. They were, I think, thinking of forfeiting here already, but then they realized I'm not running Smackdown, I'm running Bite. I still think Bite is currently better than Smackdown, by the way. But yeah, they're going to be able to get a debuff onto us. We are going to be forced to use a shield here as well. I was thinking that they would go for one extra fast move first, but they decided to go for the Brave Bird. And this point I'm thinking, like, maybe we're going to be in a solid spot like this, but I swap out, catch the move here. It's going to be very likely the Moongeist Beam. Let's see. It's going to be just a Dark Pulse. It's going to be actually kind of great for us. 2 hours Xerneas, but we're still in a like very tough spot here, as they are going to be able to use their shields now. We're gonna get the Moonblast onto them, don't get a debuff, and if they go for a Dark Pulse here, they're very likely just going to win the battle. They still have 2 shields left, and they can go for the full farm now. They should be able to win the CMP tie against Tyranitar. Tyranitar is a very bulky Pokemon, but somehow what they did here is they didn't go for a charge move. I have my Brutal Swing stored. We can now just go ahead and knock them out. Don't know how. Should have not won this battle. Could have played better though, and would have had easily a good game there, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the next opponent. Lovely lead for us. We're going to have the Kyurem against us in the lead, but if someone swaps in a Landorus into you, you have to stay in, you have to go for a charge move. That is a very, very much important here, because if you don't go for the charge move, the opponent is going to have the chance of realignment, but here we even get the 10% chance to drop the opponent's attack, which is going to be not huge, but it's going to help out quite a bit, which you're gonna maybe even see here soon. Stone Edge coming through, going to two-shot us still, so like it doesn't really help in this kind of regard. But if there is a chance of us still getting even to another charge move against the Kyurem, there might be a very solid spot of where the debuff really helped us. We're going to be able to knock them out here with a Sensia Stone, which is double resisted. I don't actually know why it does still so much damage, but it is what it is. We can go for a Stone Edge. This is doing some super effective damage against the opponent. They are going to let the move go through as well. And it's going to be a CMP tie. And so I can go into my Tyranitar, see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Necrozma, and that is a good game. Honestly, bite damage is just adding up so fast. We're going to have a horrible Elite Force, but they swap out onto the Park here. We have the option to maybe even realign us because we got a little bit of an energy advantage here, and Sandstorm Storm takes a little bit less energy. And with the matchup damage adding up here, we're going to put them into range where two Sandstorm Storms are going to be enough. We're going to take actually that Archon here and trying to get the shield advantage over the switch advantage, which I definitely can can be okay with that as well. Not too sure if this is actually the best play now in hindsight, but yeah, it's a little bit tricky that we don't have Stone Edge on our Tyranitar. They are gonna go ahead and go for another Awkward Tail on their Park here though, which is fine. We can just try to get a ton of energy here. Maybe go for a close combat then later on and then swap out anyway because they're gonna go into the Ho-Oh. I was, I think, hoping that they would swap just into the Ho-Oh straight away just to kind of keep their Palkia alive, but they don't. Close combat is coming through. We still have another one stored for later on. And we can go ahead and go up against the opponent's Dialga. Actually, this is a matchup that the Bite variant of Tyranitar can win, which is quite ridiculous. In this case, of course, we are not going to have the best time because they already still had Incinerate damage against us before. So we kind of have to hope and pray that we can go for the full farm down here. If we don't get to the full farm down, there's no way of winning this battle. But sadly, they're still reaching another charge move here where we're going to be forced to use a shield. If they didn't reach a charge move, I think we would have won this one. So it really came down to just a few HP there at the end of the day. But we can go ahead, go for the Brutal Swing, do quite some decent damage. And yeah, if we still had a shield left, we would have been able to maybe get to one Moonblast and one Close Combat. But like this, they're going to be able to win this battle. Next opponent coming through, again, another Ho-Oh, like Ho-Oh was everywhere. We're going to have here the swap of the Landorus, and they decide to stay in for a bit too long, in my opinion. I should have just went straight for the Brave Bird. But we can go for the Sensia Storm, getting the shield from the opponent, as well as getting up to another Stone Edge if they want to stay in afterwards. They're going to be in a very tough spot, because now the next Stone Edge would knock them out. And yeah, they're going to be in a spot where they're definitely going to lose their Ho-Oh here, unless they're going to swap out eventually. They go for another charge move. Maybe do they want to keep this one around? I'm not too sure. Let's find out. Brave Bird coming through. They decide to swap out now into the Palkia, allowing us to align our other Pokemon though, which might be beneficial for us later on. We can go into our Xerneas. I sure went for maybe one more fast move. I tried to get to another fast move. Not too sure if I would have been actually able to reach it. But we decide to let the move go through here because we don't have shields anymore anyway. Awkward Tail is going to 3-shot us, but we can go for the Moonblast now. But they're still not in a great spot because they're still having that Ho-Oh. Moonblast going to be able to knock them out, but they're going to go straight into the Ho-Oh here as well. Moonblast actually still does quite a lot of damage here because it's just single resisted. It does a ton of damage usually already. It is stab, it's a decent move, and so we even get the attack drop, which is quite good for me. Like honestly, I like the attack drop quite a bit. Going to open up some other kind of chances later on as they decide to swap out here, and they have the Necrozma Dawn or Wings form in the back there. That is a crucial mistake to swap that one in. As you can see here, we just completely bit them down, completely destroying them, and we can see as well they are forced to go for a charge move now. This is going to debuff, oh, and it actually doesn't debuff them. They decide to go for the Sacred Fire, but it's still going to be fine because this should be enough to knock them out, and so we can move on to the next opponent. Honestly, it is just so ridiculous to see the damage of Bite against any kind of Necrozma form. In comes Zacian. What we want to do here is kind of similar to what you want to do against like something like a Landorus hopping in. Basically, every single time I think if something neutral stops into you, you kind of want to go for a charge move first just to weaken it up to make the secondary matchup a little bit easier. Because if you hit here a Moonblast, it is way easier and way faster for Landorus to get to a charge move compared to the Xerneas, to the Xerneas here. Because Xerneas takes way longer to it, while we only need 5 fast moves to get to a Sensia Storm. So if we hit a hard move already in the beginning of the matchup, we're going to be in such a better spot later on. And so here we're also going to have the option to debuff them which is going to be great as we can go for another charge move. This might put them into one Moonblast range as well here, which is lovely, and they are going to be forced to swap out just to get greeted by our Tyranitar, which is doing so much damage with Bite. There's no way they can go for another charge move afterwards. We are forced to, of course, go for a shield here. They go for a Dark Pulse. They cannot do anything here. This game is over. Tyranitar chunked away their health, and we can move on to the next opponent. Horrible lead for us. Pre-Arena, going to be a very tricky one, especially as they're running Waterfall. Charm is actually a little bit easier for me because at the end of the day, they don't get to charge moves as fast. They're going to have here, by the way, the catch on Necrozma, which is a very smart play by them. You might wonder, why do I decide to go into the Landorus? Because it is just barely not the range where I would be able to fully bite them down before they can go for a charge move. So it is better to go for the Sansear Storm, which is going to drop the opponent's attack if they want to use a shield. Otherwise, we can just outspeed them, knock them out. But also, it is going to be better for this secondary matchup of Primarina that definitely would happen afterwards anyway. They want to, of course, swap into the Waterfall variant of Primarina against us, which is doing super effective damage, and we can kind of hinder it a little bit by getting those attack drops onto them. So here we can still go for another move. Sansear Storm coming through, gonna get the shield from the opponent. They might be forced to actually go ahead and swap out into the Dialga. That is very unfortunate for us. We can go ahead and go for the close combat. We kind of want to maybe sacrifice our Tyranitar here because there is not really a lot of play for it. And so I decided to do exactly this. They're forced to go for an Iron Head here to knock us out, but it doesn't actually knock us out. We can still survive one. And so we can go for the full farm down, knock them out, get some damage onto the opponent's Primarina here, which is actually really good damage because now our play is to go for the full Geomancy down. I think we are not in range yet for when disarming voice, but we are very close to being in range. So if we can still survive this move, we should be fine. Let's find out. We can, and so we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have a Gary in the lead. Gary is definitely the best kind of lead I could imagine for this team here, as yeah, Dragon Breath and Water is definitely better here on the lead on Xerneas compared to the ground types that we have in the back. So we're going to have the Moonblast coming through. As long as we're going to get some damage into them, we can bite them down later on as well. We have the damage now, and now it is kind of game over for that Gyarados, which is quite good for us. So we can let the move go through. It's going to be a Knockout Tail. We can go for at least 2 more false moves, maybe even 3. We decided to go for 2, playing it safe. That is totally fine for me. I think it's definitely the better play to go for. And we can knock them out. In comes the Togekiss though, which is a very tricky one. Luckily, we are still able to go for a Moonblast, and look at this. We're going to get also the attack drop onto them, which is going to be crucial as they're going to have another water type there in the back. It is going to be the Palkia. Palkia is not ideal for us at all here, as we're going to have 2 Pokemon that are weak to it, but of course, I rather kind of sacrifice my Tyranitar here, which is going to not have a great time against that Togekiss as well, than stay in with my Landorus. And as you guys see, it's kind of perfect position for us. And you might think, why does he use a shield here? Because I kind of just want to get the shield from the opponent's Togekiss. Togekiss with 2 shields against the Landorus is a very tricky matchup, but as we are able to get a shield here, that's going to be fine. The opponent was forced to go for a shield, by the way. If they didn't go for a shield, it would have not knocked them out, but it would have put them into range for just Sansear Storm. And now we are going to be a little bit in a tougher spot. We are forced to go for a Stone Edge in order to knock them out, and luckily the opponent is going to call the bait here, which did not work out for them, and we can move on to the second to last battle. Honestly, this team was so much fun to play. You already must see it based on the gameplay that we had so far. There were so many cool encounters for the Tyranitar, where it was just able to bite them all the way down. In comes here the Kyogre, which is totally fine for me. We can go for a Sansear Storm, and honestly, maybe I misplay this one a little bit as well, but I feel like it is definitely the more appropriate play to go for. I decided to go for a Stone Edge here. If I went for a Sansear Storm in hindsight, this would have been the better play, of course, but you will never know what the opponent is going to do. Stone Edge would knock them out, but they decide to use a shield, which is fine, which is totally fine. But now, of course, they have a ton of energy. I don't want to get hit by an Origin Pulse, if I'm honest here. And so I rather decide to use a shield as they go straight for another move. It's definitely a Surf. And we're going to be in a way better spot now, as we can at least go for 3 more false moves here, I would say, as the opponent swaps out into the Dialga. I should have maybe sacrificed my, Pokemon here. I should have mostly sacrificed my Tyranitar. We can go for the full farm down. In comes now the Palkia from the opponent, which is a decent matchup for us, and luckily we can still reach another charge move, which is going to put them very, very low. Low enough for us to hopefully farm that down later on as well, especially as they're staying in here against the Bite. Bite is just adding up, and we should be able to Geomancy them down. And now it's just down to if we can knock out that final Pokemon here real quick. You have 2 close combat stored. This should be enough for Kyogre. They would win Team Pita if they have a move stored here, but they don't, and so we can win this battle and move on to the final one for today. Okay, well, let's see what they have here. We're going to have a horrible lead of Necrozma. Yeah, forces Hobart straight away just to get hardwalled by the Palkia. Necrozma Palkia core currently one of the most common one. I made a video recently about what the Dragon Tail Groudon can do to this core, so maybe if you want to see on how to break this, maybe take a look at that video as well. But anyway, we're going to use a shield here against the Palkia, as you can force some more shields from the opponent as well. This is going to be definitely good for us. Since I'm gonna get the shield from the opponent, we can try to go for another one afterwards as well. But we decide to use a shield here. Shield coming up, it's going to be the Awkward Tail. We try to realign, but honestly, I make a little bit of a mistake. I should have not used as many shields because we know about the Necrozma. I forgot at this point about the Necrozma in League, to be fair. I'm honest about this. And for me, it would have been way smarter to keep my one shield, keep the opponent one shield, go into my Xerneas afterwards, try to go for the full farm down, get a ton of energy, go for 2 close combats against the Necrozma, and still keep my Pokemon around. And I think this was a winnable battle as well. I feel like basically every single battle that I did with this team was winnable if I played a little bit better. But here, as you can see, we have the struggles of not having a shield. If we had a shield, this game would be over already, as we would be able to fully farm them down. But we can't, and so that is my fault. That is definitely on me, but it is what it is. Still got a 4-1 in this set here with this team. This team was lovely to play. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.